Good morning. Um, I fell asleep with wet hair, so don't mind my wild woman hairdo. Um, but I had a really crazy ass dream and I wanted to share it with you guys. So in my dream, pardon me, I always kind of get choked up in the morning. In my dream, it was like the apocalypse, right? It was like the end of the world, and like hell had risen and demons were taking over and capturing all the humans. And in my dream, I don't remember any men. So I think they got rid of all the men. Like there was no men. It was just us women and children. And I remember us getting rounded up and like taken to a big facility. And I have two sons. Pardon me, I'm sorry. And one daughter, and my two sons were taken from me like almost immediately. And I was allowed to keep my daughter for a little amount of time. But eventually she was taken from me too and put in a class of girls, little girls her age. And I was sent away with all the adult women, right? And we were all put into like a big facility all together. And it was like a big prison kind of thing, because I remember there being like a yard where they would take us out to like, I don't know, put us in the sun. I don't know. They were keeping care of us for some reason. So they let us have a little bit, a yard area, and some of us were able to like get jobs and stuff like in a prison. And the guards were all demons and they looked like normal men, except they had purple eyes. Their eyes were like deep purple. And they were very cruel, very, very cruel and rude. They would insult you, and, they weren't nice guys. Like, it wasn't like we were having a good time out in the yard. It's like, it was the end of the world. It was hell. And I remember being in like one of the common areas around a bunch of other women, and the guard came in and pointed at me. "You," he says. "He wants you." And then he looks me up and down and he goes, "God knows why." And he starts like making fun of my looks and stuff, and like pointing out other women that were more attractive than me. And but then he was like, "But what he wants, he wants." And they took me to an area and I was allowed to take a shower, and I was given some fresh clothes to put on. And I went to like a very nice bedroom area and was like sat there to wait. And that's when I got to meet him. And when he came in, he looked just like those like AI drama stories where it's like the perfect human being, like perfectly like sculpted face and jaw, those same purple eyes, and like anime like black hair kind of dangling down over his face, and very sharp pointed shoulders, in a very smart suit. And he had like a very pale complexion, like he was dead. But very handsome, like strikingly handsome, fake handsome, like what written down perfection would look like in real life. And he came and he sat down on the bed and he told me that he'd been watching me and that he'd noticed my kindness even through all of, even through going through hell. He noticed that I was still kind and helped the other women. And we could sometimes see the little girls' class like passing through the hallways. And I could see my daughter. And he said that he could see how I looked at my daughter and he knew I missed her. And he questioned me a lot about why was I still so kind? Why didn't I turn like the others? And I just explained to him that it's just who I am. It's just who I want to be. And he kind of like, his face was very, very stoic, very plain, like no expression at all. And I could just kind of like see his eyes scanning the room. And then he would look at me when I would talk. And he told me he was interested in me, but only in his true form. Okay? And I was like, all right. And he told me, once he revealed himself to me, my eyes will tell him the truth. And pretty much whether I would live or I would die, and he would go on to choose another or whatever. And so he stood in front of me, and the like tall anime looking guy, Goku disappears, and he's just like a normal guy, but he's handsome. He's very handsome. Like, he still has a very symmetrical face. He's blonde and he has bright blue eyes. And he was a little shorter, probably about a foot shorter than the anime guy. Like, that guy was like 6 feet tall. He was not. And like I said, very handsome, very sculpted, beautiful, beautiful face, but scars, deep, deep scars running through that beautiful face. Like scars on his lips, scars on his face, a big scar down his eye, like scar. And I remember looking at him and feeling so much softer, like, whoa, you look real. And when he showed himself to me, and he was looking me in the eyes the whole time. When I looked at him and I was like, whoa, he looked down. He looked down and he wouldn't look at me. And he said that he thought I didn't judge him. And I told him, I don't. You're so handsome, is what I told him. I was like, you're so handsome. Why do you put on that mask? And he kind of looked at me, and his eyes. That's when I noticed how blue and beautiful his eyes were. Crystal blue eyes. And he said, I'm ugly. And I told him, you've just been through a lot, but I see how handsome you are. And I remember like touching his face and then taking my finger and like running it along the edge of the scar on his eyebrow. And I told him that I thought it made him look handsome. And then he like, we like, you know, we did the deed, and he was very attentive and very good at what he was doing. I mean, like, he danced like you'd think the devil would dance, baby. And it became one of those dreams, right? But it didn't stay that dream, you know? Like, he did what he would do. He would make me do what I do, and he would get very excited for what I do. And once he was done making me do what I do, if you can follow along with this, do-up-a-do, he would let me go. And he told me one time that he knew it hurt me not to be able to see my daughter, and he wanted to change that. So I was allowed for like 10 minutes a day to sit with my daughter and talk with her and play a little bit with her and stuff. And the children never looked scared. They were always clean. They always were fed. Like, they were taking care of the children. It was the adults that they were harming. Okay? And being able to talk to my daughter, I found out that she was in contact with her brothers, and that her brothers were okay, and that they were happy too, that they were big gamers wherever their facility was. They were like the top gamers, and that they ate pizza and stuff. Like, they were happy. Like, they were keeping care of the kids. They were keeping the kids content for whatever reason. And so that was nice to be able to talk to my daughter and to hear about my sons. And I got to do that every day. And the other women in the facility were very upset with me. Now, when I would go back, they would pick on me probably worse than the demons, because the demons, they knew I was chosen now. And so it was the other women, the jealous women, that were upset, you know, because they weren't getting special treatment. They didn't get to see their kids. I don't blame them. I understood why they were upset with me, but I was just trying to survive, just like they were. And so I remember one woman, an older woman, who was also somewhat favored. Like, she had a job in the facility. She was like janitorial. And she had access to the key cards to get in and out of the doors, right? And she came and she sat next to me really close, really tight, close next to me. And like leaned her head on my shoulder. And I was freaking out, because usually when the girls came next to me or near me, they wanted to like fight me or whatever, because I was the devil's favorite. And oh, he did tell me that he was the devil. He was Lucifer. He confided in me and told me about his fall from heaven and how much he missed God, and he missed talking to him. And I remember telling him, like, why don't you just make up? Like, trying to console him and stuff, because in these moments was when I was in his chambers with him, when he was using me to de-stress. And yeah, he told me that he was the fallen angel. He was and that he presented himself in that mask because that's how everybody thought he should be, being the most beautiful, like God's most beautiful angel. He thought that that's what everyone wanted to see, not his scarred, flawed self. And the fact that, like, I liked his scars, I liked his face. I was tender and kind to him and listened to him. He favored me, he wanted me. And the woman laid her head on my shoulder and she said, "We all need you, you know this, right?" And I kind of put my head on top of hers like we were friends. I said, "I don't know who you are. I don't understand what's going on. I'm just trying to survive each day." And she kind of like touched my leg with her hand, like she wanted to hold hands. And so I like stuck my hand between our legs, like her leg was next to my leg with her hand between our legs too. And I stuck my hand to like meet to her hand to like grab her hand and hold her hand. Because like I said, the devil had noticed how kind I was because I would always comfort others in the facility. I would comfort people who were crying and stuff. Like I wouldn't run away. I wouldn't leave them alone. I would go to them and hold them. Sorry. I would hold them, and so it wouldn't be odd for me to take a stranger's hand and to hold her hand. And when I took her hand, I felt the key card in her palm. And I remember kissing her fingers and telling her everything's gonna be okay. And she told me, "I know it will. There's a mission waiting for you in the gardening shed." She said, "You need to make it out to the shed tonight." I left it in there. And right about that time, he came and he saw me holding her hand and like kissing her fingers. And he got very jealous, very upset. And I tried to explain, like, she's having a hard time. She misses her daughter. And like the whole time, like I have the key card in my hand and I putting it in my pocket and like trying to explain to him, like, it's okay. It's not what it seems. It's, she was sad and I was consoling her. And he said, then he won't punish her, but I'm never going to see her again. And I told him, I understand. You do what you have to do. And I did. I never saw her again. They moved her to a different facility. But I don't feel like they like offed her or anything, because he loved me. Even though he was cruel. He was so cruel. Being close to him, I saw him do cruel things to other humans and to the other demons. Like, he was very powerful, and like with the snap of a finger, he could vaporize you. And but he was never cruel to me. Like whenever he would do those cruel acts, he would always kind of like pat me on the head and be like, "Never you, my pet. Never you." And he definitely owned me. I was a pet. And later that night, I got the courage, right? I knew the mission. I got this girl kicked out of our block because of this mission. You know, like I had to do this. I had to do it for her. So I snuck out. I got out of the gate with the key card. Boop! It like booped every door open. And I got to that shed. right? And it had the key card too. And I booped it, boop. But when I went to open it, it was like a regular old shed door, and it was like, ah, in the middle of the night. And I was like, ah! Like, oh my God, like trying to like hold it up a little and like do it as quietly as possible. I got it as open as I could to like squeeze my fat butt in there. And I'm looking around in there, and it's just a normal ass shed. There's nothing in this shed, like a lawnmower, a weed whacker, some chemicals, and like a workbench. And but I noticed a beam of light like shining through like a crack in the ceiling. There was a tiny beam of light, and it led down onto the workbench, and on the top of the workbench was a kitchen knife, totally out of place, and it was like shining, like shimmering in there, like in a video game, like pick me up. And I was like, that's it. That's what she left for me. It's totally out of place. And I slipped it into my hoodie pocket and crept back out of the shed, locked it up, crept back into the facility, locked it up, crept back into my bed, and waited for him to come and get me in the morning. And the whole time I was laying there in bed waiting for the sun to rise, I kept imagining, like envisioning how I was going to fight him. And each time I would envision it, I remember envisioning it twice in the dream. Each time I would envision it, I was a knight in armor, and he would morph into like a big red dragon and come like flying at me. And I remember like the knife in my hand would turn into a sword, and like I remember like swiping it down his belly, and his scales were as hard as stones. And when my steel blade whoosh, would hit against his belly scales, it would spark, and he would laugh in the air at me. And so like in my mind's eye, I wasn't winning. I wasn't able to win. I was trying to figure out like how I was going to get between those scales, how I was going to penetrate his heart. And here comes the morning. They call me to the shower. They give me my fresh clothes and send me to his room. And I've got the knife in my pocket with my hand around the grip. And I walk in with like the most confidence I've ever had. Like, I'm going to do it. I am going to slay this dragon. And when I walk into his room, he's sitting on his bed with his head in his hands. And he looks so pitiful, weeping and crying. And when he sees me, he runs to my arms, and like, I just wrap my arms around him, and he just is weeping into my shoulder. And my heart melts. And I didn't know if I could do it. I was falling in love with the devil. Ugh. Like, as I'm holding him, he takes my hand and puts it onto his head and starts stroking my hand through his hair, because he liked me to pet his hair, right? He would have me pet his hair for hours. He would just have me sit there and stroke his hair. He loved being pampered and admired and loved. And he's weeping into my shoulder. He's making me pet his head. Like, of course I take over and I start petting his hair, and I'm trying to console him. What's wrong, my dear? What's going on? And he can't even talk. And so I'm just petting his head and I'm like, it's okay. You just let it out. You just cry. And I'm holding him, petting his hair, telling him everything's going to be okay. And also in my head, envisioning the knife in my pocket. And when I pull the knife out, how it becomes a sword in my hand. And how his flesh rips away and he becomes a dragon. And how I need to defeat this dragon. But right now, he's not a dragon. He's just this pitiful creature in my arms. Just this infant baby in my arms. Just crying out for attention. Crying out for love and affection. Ugh. I didn't know if I could do it. I questioned myself. I went back to my room. Like after he was done, after we were done and he had been consoled and made happy again and was able to go back to his job and do what he was doing, I couldn't even be taunted by the other girls. Like they couldn't, yeah, I didn't even care what they had to say. They could have thrown crap in my face and I probably wouldn't have even done anything. I sat there on my bed, like on my cot, with my hand on the knife, wondering if I was wrong for being in love with the devil. And is he really so bad? And then I woke up. Then my alarm went off. And I felt so empty. Empty. I felt so empty. I still don't know. Will I be able to do it? If I go back there, will I be able to slay him? To cut his heart out? Like when he was done with me, I felt drained. He felt great. He stopped crying. He was like laughing and chipper and everything by the end of it, and I felt totally drained. He totally just took everything I had. I don't know what it means, but I don't know how many more of those nights I'll be able to survive, you know? I was making a plan because I was figuring if I could get my sword in between the scales, I could probably jam it in there hard enough. I was planning it. What would you guys do? I don't know. This is a really weird dream. I keep taking really long pauses because like I literally just woke up and like got the kids something to drink and fed the cat and started recording. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. What would you do in my situation? Would you slay the dragon even though you were in love with his beautiful scarred face and pitied his sad story? Or would you see through that facade and see the true dragon within? I think that's what I need to do. I need to see the true dragon within. I need to see the truth. Is that dragon can pop out at any second. but he has to try to be his normal self. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. If you listen this long, then you must really like boring stories. Almost died. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear if you have crazy ass dreams too. Like, I want to know. Tell me. Slay the dragon. Don't pity him. He doesn't deserve it. Bye.